Okay, so yesterday I think I had some makeup malfunction. I don't know, because when I was seeing where it just looked black, so weird too how everything just looks so blurry. I can see a little bit more sharp right now. But I just did a detox bath. I wonder if that's why. But anyways, when I had finished, because I had seen where it looked like all of a sudden I had one eye that was a gray alien and one eye that was normal. And so, whenever I finished recording, I just started doing some stuff. I don't know, but by the time I went into the bathroom and looked, I had all this black smear. I was like, oh, that probably was what I had while I was recording and I couldn't see. So, but I think I put too much of the stuff on, and charcoal, activated charcoal is like, oh my God, you get it on you. It's hard to, you have to wash it. It really stays on. Even some soaps, like you have to almost use like a degreaser soap or something. It's very potent. And so with that charcoal stuff, so when you get it on there and then you try and wipe it, it just makes big smudges. So I with my mascara stuff that I made yesterday, I put some in a mascara thing. And so then I put it on this morning. And so I didn't put any on the line. Yesterday I tried to put some on with the line. And then I tried to put some on. So I think I have way too much. So I don't know. Could do the same thing. But I'm going to keep trying it because, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Like they charge so much stuff for that Grow mascara. And you put the same stuff right in and make your own. So I'm going to keep trying it until I perfect it. I made another batch of my toothpaste yesterday. And that is bentonite clay, baking soda, activated charcoal, coconut oil, olive oil, and cloves. And so just mix that up. And it does a whole bunch of stuff with the minerals. It's really good for your teeth. And then plus I thought it took off a lot of the tea stains. I don't know, I thought that they looked less dark. I don't know, but even if I look a fool sometimes and I can't see, I think that that shows I really can't see. But I didn't go back in and look at the video because I was like, I can't go in and look at it and see, because then if I've got a big smudge and I'm talking all serious, this big smudge, I'll be motivated to want to take down the video, and I've got to get off of like worrying about, it isn't about me, it's about the information. And boy, today too, I've been in a battle with my guides, I swear to God. Yesterday even, I mean, getting like 10 notifications in a whole fucking day. And then yesterday I had this guy message me and said, for how many followers you have, your views don't make any sense. I think you're shadow banned. It's like I get told this all the time. It's like, dude, I know I'm shadow banned. I'm like, yes, been dealing with this for fucking since 2020. Like, it's mental. And anyways, so I've been keep having that just brought to my attention. I mean, just, it isn't even just the people saying it. It's like you go on to your account, and it's like 10 notifications all night. Okay. And that is where it's like, okay, so I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm putting all this stuff out here. And, to me, it's like, is this to just kind of show me, like, you do something for years with no return, you just keep doing it. I mean, to me, I'm sitting there telling them, like, I feel like a big hypocrite telling somebody, like, you shouldn't just be a sheeple, you shouldn't just do what you're told and all that stuff. And here I am just doing what I'm told, and there's nothing giving back, nothing that is making me see like, oh, you're doing the right thing, keep on going. Yeah, other than what the voices in my head, which I literally saw a girl yesterday, and she said, be careful when you're awakening as who you talk to, because you start saying some things and people think you're crazy, and you say it to the wrong person and you get locked up. And she did. Her mom, and she lives in Arizona. And so the mom could literally tell that they wanted her arrested and held for a psych eval. And I don't know, she was sitting there saying like the TV's talking to her, or she's just talking to the voices, because I do that all the time. I mean, they're always talking, and I talk back. Sometimes I talk in my head, sometimes I talk out loud. And, I've told my daughter, the TV talks, the music, everything talks to you. Like, when people sit there and say like schizophrenics are crazy because they think it's talking to you, no, it's talking to you. You are making them lose their grip on reality by telling them they're crazy. As soon as you think you are crazy, you're crazy. You lose your grip on reality, then that is your grip that is lost. It's your connection. It's like you're letting it be interfered with. So anyways, I've told my daughter, like it is, and she's said things like, you say things that could get you locked up, and I'm like, yeah, but it's true. Like, you just don't understand like the spiritual world yet. And she's starting to see, though. She's starting to understand, the one that I feel she's been a big because all her teaching is based on psychology. Psychology says that I'm crazy. So, she's been part of the thing even back in 2015, because she was talking to my siblings behind my back, like if I've completely lost it, if I'm crazy and stuff like that. I got really mad about that one too. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. But, to me, there's always this for they know not what they do. Like my one daughter, she's not saying anything to me at all. And I'm sure she thinks she's punishing me. Like, if you're not going to stay on script, I'm just not going to talk to you. Well, I'm not staying on script. So if that's your choice, then so be it. I can't do anything about it. I'm not going to be a product of what somebody else wants me to be so they're happy and I stay in this state of never being myself. No, it's not gonna go like that. So, and if you can't accept me, then that's on you, then don't have a mom. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And but definitely my all these words going in my mouth, in my head. My beef is definitely with my guys. It's like, come on, you guys, throw me a fucking bone. You want me to be doing this? There's a point where you do just feel like you're just mental. Like, there's nothing showing me that I'm doing it, except for the things that I say. Then they'll bring back, and it'll be like, oh, see, that was true, that was true, that was true, that was true. It's like, yeah, but what is going on here? Like, why am I sitting here saying this stuff? Like, and then I see other people who don't have a clue what's going on, and they're out there just speaking it all over the place. And then, I don't know. I know I'm not the only person who knows what's going on, and I see more and more people waking up to the truth about this place and about the fact that we're just lab rats, and this place is completely a manipulated habitat in order to control us. And they profit off of our sickness, and that is, they want us to be sick so that they're making money all the time. So, all that stuff is, and it's so crazy too, because my guys were telling me that, and even when they started telling me some of that stuff, like we're we're being watched all the time, we're an experiment, we are always being experimented on and stuff like that. I would try and tell somebody, nobody would ever listen to me. And so, but it was like the seed was planted. It was already put in my mind. And so then when I started seeing things and hearing things, then it was like, oh, man. But so, that's a long time for them to be telling me. So this whole thing, anyways, of just keep going and saying things. And then, nobody hears you. Like, you get up, you got 16 views on one channel, you got 10 notifications on the other, and still day after day, year after year, you just keep on dedicating, like, I'm gonna get out there, I'm gonna say it, I'm gonna talk about stuff. And I don't know. I just hear people talking about the energy, like the flip around. Like that is what I base it all on, is the energy turning. And something with the earth core thing, is stopping. It's not turning and going super fast. Like they're sitting there looking at, is it going the other direction? We think it's going the other direction. Like I don't even know what the hell they're looking at. Anyways, like I don't know what people are looking at when they're watching the poles shift. I don't know. Especially when you start wrapping your head around this as a flat earth that doesn't even match the maps that they show us. Like, how are you watching them? Are you basing it on like a fake map? Like, what are you? So I don't know. So it's all so confusing. Oh, but the coolest thing. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure it was Napalm. And they had a huge mudslide. And after the mud slid down the side of this mountain, there's this giant face that has appeared that looks so freaking real. Oh my God, when you see the footage go up to the eyes, it looks like all of a sudden those eyes are just gonna open up and then they're gonna turn their head. And so all those people, who were watching, like the people who talk about the giants, and that's a mix too, because you have the alien people who talk about them, but then you also have the religious people, because the religious people, they're all about this Nephilim, and they're all about the demons, the fallen angels. Like their whole thing is very, but then you have, as far as I'm concerned, I was more in alignment with Mateus de Stefano when he was talking about on Gaia channel and on that show Initiation. I swear that is such a good show. But when he was talking about the Nephilim, they are like the protectors of reality. They were here to kind of like seed and protect, and they were the collectors of information, like the holders of information, and the information is in the water, and the water is the library, and the library is if the Arctic wall is going to melt, and even we're picking up, like, where people downloads and stuff like that, and the information that is moving through the atmosphere. So it's kind of like the same thing. Like, you can go sit in a bath and have communication. Like, and that is something too. He was even talking about, like, in the pyramids and stuff, when they were trying to do communication and stuff, they would sit in a bath of water or whatever, because it's like a transmitter. And so, but the giants had, a role in human history, but also I think that there was different things. To me, it's like we're just all different sizes. Like, it's not just like the giants and the human, you know what I mean? It's like there's all different sizes of all different beings. And so, of course, there's going to be a lot of beings that are really giant to us. And even when you see the pictures, there was like a lot of giants that were even in like 1800s or something. That were just like, I don't know, 2-3 times the size of a person. And interact with them. And even when I've seen where people, sit with pictures and stuff like that. So it wasn't like they were scary. But then when you go back to further stories, like with the indigenous people, they battled the red-headed giants. And those big mounds everywhere, like I think there's a lot in the Midwest. And for a while, they had dug up those mounds, and there was reports in the newspapers, like where people had found these old newspaper articles. But the Smithsonian always gets called. They always come and take the stuff because they're in the business of hiding the history from us, so that we don't know, anything about who or what we are. It's all about manipulation and telling us, and it's so much just about like what Ed Harris said in the Truman Show. People will believe what you tell them. Like you can make the truth whatever you want. Just like where I was saying, like about, there can be abused kids living in a house where they're being abused, but they don't know any difference. They don't know there's kids not being abused. That's just their life. And, those are the patterns that they are here to break free from, to understand, to, you know, I mean, every soul has all their own things going on. So I put this thing down because I don't want my rug to get with the wood things that shoot out. So I put this towel down in front, and somehow miraculously it just keeps shooting out right next to it. It's like, oh, don't ruin my beautiful rug I love. But anyways, so the this giant thing that has all of a sudden been unveiled, or is like he's coming. The people who are saying it are saying that the giants are coming back to life. The giants are going to reveal themselves. That's going to be a part of how we're going to see the truth. And, you know, I mean, that would be fucking cool if all of a sudden that giant just stood up and woke up, and like other ones start standing up in the ocean, and more started being revealed and stuff. That I think would be cool. This giant that it was showing, I mean, I would say its head, I mean, to me, it looked like you would need to stack a few different people, like, you know, on top of each other to even be the size of this person's head. Was it a statue? Is it some sort of giant statue? And then who is it representing? Like, it's, I don't know, it's very curious, but more and more, you know, just keeps being revealed. And I didn't see anything else about the earthquake. I looked, and every time I would see stuff about weather, it was like showing some other place, and I wasn't seeing anything about the earthquakes. And then I know that they shadow, you know, so many different accounts. I mean, like on my algorithm, all of a sudden, you know, I've got these dancing people and stuff again, like it's mental. But what I did see is that there was 2 mass shootings in California. And I've said it for, you know, I think since I very first started talking about this, I've been saying the city, you do not want to be in this city. It is going to be really violent. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be bad in a lot of cities, a lot of big cities. You know, I don't know. When I just see these people being in these cities and then talking about this horrible stuff going on, it's like, it's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse and worse. And I'll tell you another thing that is really strange. And this person, I think they were in Michigan. And their video was this doorbell alert. And it wasn't their doorbell. It was 3 blocks away or something. It was like, how are you getting alerted on someone else's doorbell? Like, I don't know if I'm missing something in the story or what. Like, but anyways, so 3 blocks over or something. You know, so I saw the footage, and maybe she was just talking about that this person had shared it on Facebook, and that's how she saw it. Like, you know, I wasn't sure, like, she was saying how she was alerted. I was like, how are you alerted over somebody else's doorbell ringer? But anyway, so she showed the video and this little thing these people had said. To me, it looked like they were saying that this kid showed up on their doorbell thing, and they were watching out the window until finally he left at 4 in the morning. But this is all happening at like 4 to 4:15 in the morning. And in the footage, you see this kid who looks like he's maybe like 9 years old, 8 years old. He's got a mask over his eyes, so he can't see. He's blindfolded. And he has a backpack on, and his hands are tied in front of him. And so he's walking, and he can't see where he's walking. So I don't know if he escaped somewhere near, if he was dropped out of a car. Like, I'm not sure. But even to the point where the people who had the camera thing said he was walking, and he walked right into the garage door and hit into it because he couldn't see. And then he was like hanging out there for a few minutes and left. And I was just like, why in the world, if you saw a kid that is blindfolded and tied up, that you would just watch them and not open the door and grab them? I was like, surely I'm misunderstanding that too. Like this stuff just gets weirder and weirder. Like, man, I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, to me, the splitting kind of thing of like how you look at things, like how you see things, like I just can't imagine watching a kid like that out my window. I don't know. Like, I mean, I keep seeing other people talking about this lack of compassion and stuff that they are dealing with some people like that. I mean, I said it a while back. It's like the collective consciousness that has become, the thing that we do as the collective is the connection of empathy and compassion. And that is what I keep seeing. Of like how people, if it doesn't affect them, they just go about their day and not even having any realization of how bad people are being affected right now. I mean, even people who have had to have no awareness of the horrible stuff that has happened to people. I guess they just did they did a big march, I think in London, and and people who have been injured, and you know, a lot of people are just carrying pictures because people aren't there anymore, but a lot of people were in wheelchairs, all sorts of stuff, like, but the people who, you know, just are, I don't know, trying to survive or something, and not paying any attention to that kind of stuff, and you know, not, man, like, just like that girl sitting there trying to figure out how she was going to get money out of her taxes. It's like, man, they've already come out and said, like, I keep seeing those things being shared over and over. All the programs that they said they're going to cut. And they're not going to pay taxes. They say right there, we're not going to pay taxes. As a matter of fact, we're going to probably have to take some more money from you. And I know that that's all the absurdity to get people to wake up and question, like, you know, I mean, all this stuff going on right now with there's so much stuff that's just absurd. In New York, you got all these homeless people in the streets, and then they made this big fancy place to put in the immigrants where they have Wi-Fi, warm beds, warm food, video games, TVs, I mean, every fucking thing. And they spend all this money to make this big housing shelter for the immigrants, where they've got all, you know, all these Americans on the street dying. You know, that's the stuff that people have to wake up to. And then I guess this girl who I saw, because the only thing I'd seen about the war, I think, was this girl saying that they're going to announce today, and she said she's trying to employ people to not panic and not feed that fear, because they're trying to get us to create the scenarios. They're trying to get us to create being nuked or whatever, you know, they want us to do that. But I know that we can't be nuked because the aliens will stop it, because it's against universal law. So I just know it would be about the fear, about to try and wake people up. And, you know, one of the things for sure is people wake up from nightmares. Like, it is so many people, like what I used to say, is these come to Jesus moments. Like, you can see it like over and over, and I see people over and over, like, I don't know what to do, or they've lost hope, they don't even know what to do, they're just stuck. And this one guy, he was like, you know, I just am so stuck. I was like, dude, I know. I'm so stuck too. Like, but we're two different kinds of stuck. Like his, you know, I feel like we're on a scratched record, and we're just stuck in the scratch. We'll just keep going, repeat. Somebody's got to freaking knock things so we can get out of this goddamn scratch and start moving, you know, forward. But there is like this being stuck, but it is something about how they keep this going when it's already gone. it keeps us stuck. And I don't know how it's all done, but I know for the universal consciousness that it is necessary for people to wake up. I mean, they can't just leave it, you know? Like, I mean, all these people just confused. Like, what? Man, just imagine all these people. Like, if you've ever read any of the near-death experience books, you know, but you imagine all these people passing at once just in confusion. How many people have to be there on the other side to be helping escort them into, what is that word? It is not rational. It's like grounding you into your reality. But when they're so confused and they think this is all reality is, and then they pass, then they are confused. Like, well, where the hell am I? What's going on? Especially people who believe you don't live after you die. They get really confused. So there's a lot of confusion when people first pass if they don't. To me, like, this is about conscious awareness in this case too, is because, like, if you pass right now and you have conscious awareness and you have an understanding about life and death and all that, then when you pass, you are completely aware of what's going on. It's not like you're going to be like, where am I? What's happening? You just, it would be a lot more, you don't have confusion. It's not like you die and then all of a sudden you have to try and figure out who you are again. No, that is, the confusion is based on the manipulation of people's minds, of them being like, you know, what am I doing? Where am I? Where's everybody I know? Like, what's going on? What are you doing here? I haven't seen you in years, you know, kind of stuff. And so, and it's like a dream. I mean, I have so many different, like, trance states or whatever that I come out of, and I have to figure out, like, wait a minute, where am I? Oh, okay, so I'm here. Okay, I'm doing that. Okay, like, I have to reorient myself, but I can do it to myself, you know, and that would be the same thing as a consciously aware soul would pass. Then they would be, oh, okay, wait, where am I? Okay, you know, they wouldn't be sitting there like I was talking to somebody, and I don't remember how they ended up. I think their grandma was coming to them in dreams after she passed, but and maybe their guides had told them some stuff. I can't remember the whole thing, but when their grandma, because I swear to God, they said their grandma didn't believe in life after death. And so when their grandma passed, she was super confused for a while. But I've heard those stories a lot. And then because there's even this one guy, and I talked about these people way earlier in my thing, because there was those two different women whose sons had both died, and they just, their sons started showing up and talking to people. And so the women started communicating with their sons. And one of them, his name is Eric, and I can't remember her channel, what it's called, but she has a whole story, a whole backstory, and she's all science. And so, you know, because she's a doctor, and so she was like, you know, it's completely opened her mind. But what always drove me crazy when I would listen to her is because her questions, like, if you have the opportunity to talk to somebody like that, you know, some of the questions were just like, what? So that always irritated me. But anyways, his job on the other side, because he talked about this all the time to her, and his job was, as people pass, that they have, like, it's like an orientation class to orient you, to help you understand how you move. You just think something and you're there, you know, and that is like where I've talked about how the manipulation of our travel, our movement, the control of our movement keeps us to where we don't know our own power, our own strength. And it keeps us where they can control and try and keep us in more of a controlled area, not in such an open space. Because in the open space, you can find, you know, portals and other beings, which I'll tell you another freaking doorbell camera thing I saw yesterday. was this person was sharing this purse. It was like a couple of different things that were weird, because across the street, these lights all of a sudden came on. So you can see from this person's doorbell camera, across the street, this person's lights come on. And so then when their lights come on, you all of a sudden see this little gray figure go running out across their yard out to their driveway, and is standing there. And so it looks kind of like a child's size, but not like a child attitude. So some spirit, you can tell it's a spirit. You know, you can just tell. I mean, for sure, it was some sort of energy. But the thing is so it was went over there, and then it ran back over, and then this guy ran up and opened this people's car door, went through it real quick, grabbed some stuff, goes, takes off, and starts running. And that little thing started chasing him. So to me, what I saw was this dark attachment, you know, where people think, oh, it's demons and stuff like that. This is this little, where I talk about, you get these little energy attachments. And so that energy, it didn't even have to be like right on him. And I feel pretty certain that that energy was what was cheering him on, like, come on, because he could hear it real loud, I'm sure, in his head. Grab that, do that, you know. And that is where people think this stuff is coming from inside of them. But no, it's these little beings, these little energies that are looking for, you know, some excitement, some, you know, and they're controlling your mind, getting you to do things that you know, aren't good for other people. They're creating chaos and creating hardship and stuff like that. So, you know, they are just having fun. You could tell, like, that wasn't some evil thing. It wasn't even like right on him or anything. It seemed like really kind of like having fun out there. But the way that it was sitting there, like in the driveway, like it was like the watch out. Like it was watching out for the guy. And it was like you could hear the thing yelling at him. And then the guy turns and takes off, and they both go running. It was like, and the person who has the video was like, you know, just totally freaking out. Like, what is that? What is that? What is that thing? What is that? And then, you know, I've seen a lot of these now that have been caught, even over that one, I think it was over the fetal removal, government approved, one of those where it was tons and tons of liberal, angry women protesting. It was a big protest. It was huge. And it was like a view from, it was a high rise, or it wasn't an aerial view, but it was like way up above. But you could see like this dark matter like going around, like they were sucking the energy out. I mean, they were being well fed too. It was like in a frenzy getting all of that. And that is, you know, that's, to me, like I've said a long time ago, when you start getting yourself all worked up, just remember you got some around you trying to eat off of you. Because that, to me, just keeps you where, oh no, I'm gonna just think of something happy. Like, I don't want those. And they'll sit and whisper in your ear, and you know, whisper in your head, and get you to trust them. And where people don't even recognize, they trust them to where they think it's their own voice in their head, and they don't recognize that it is a separate entity, because it gets so comfortable. You get so comfortable with each other. That's why it's so important to recognize your own self, your own voice, your own, and to have awareness that you are attached to a whole world. And if you don't have awareness of that world, then it is going to be haunting. And, you know, it's more and more with the supernatural stuff is being shown. And I've seen more people saying about that too, that I don't know, these people who look at the planets and stuff, there's something about the planets are all in perfect alignment right now. And so, you know, to me, it's still like, you know, I'll know when things are going the other direction, because I'll see it in my own life. Like, I have been putting out the energy in a direction that they've been asking me. So the energy's been going in one way. And so then when it switches, I should see, the response to the energy I've been putting out, and so, we'll see. But that is how I keep thinking, I mean, even if they're saying like this is shifting, it's going the other direction, we're going to see significant things. We're going to see significant changes in that, my more and more absurd shit been coming out with Joe. Like even I heard more of that, phone call, this, it's like they caught it. It was probably pre-recorded. Oh my God, this stuff is so absurd. And so absurd how people really think like, oh man, I can't believe this is going on. It's like, man, this is all set up. This is like, this is a movie, like 100%. Like this is all set up, like, everything. So, but people are, there's got to be all levels. So, yeah, in the phone thing, when he's asking Hunter, he needs to call Barack and tell him and Michelle. He should have called him Michael too. That would have been funnier. That they're what was it called? They are doing. I can't even think of the. Man, I can't think of the word. I'm totally going blank. But when you their fallback thing or whatever, like they've got to do their plan now. Some sort of plan. Tell him plan blah blah blah. Is it we gotta do it. We gotta do it now or something. And so, it's pulling them in to show, who all's involved. Everybody, like he's got to keep bringing people onto the stage. And there's so much going on over in the Korean view. Oh yeah. Because I've just seen where, because people are starting to really get that Putin is really the one who is the good guy. And he is found some mass grave of kids in the Crane of You. And it, but I think it was an article from April. But there was a whole bunch of articles and stuff. But where I see people sharing, where it's starting to see like, they're not just believing what they're told. They're actually looking into it and seeing like, oh, so he's trying to take down lambs and expose this and expose that. But, it's all about paying attention. It's all about your conscious awareness. It's all about, your, how alert you are to life. And I know it has something to do with like being a natural being and being a part of nature and creation. And another thing too, which this is kind of strange, and I just started seeing this girl, but I've liked what she's been talking about. But so she was talking about, one of them was where she lives, I think it was in California, but where she lives, that people go out and dump their animals all the time, and she said it's really horrible. But she said the worst was the other night somebody did. And then she said that she heard the attack by the coyotes, and she said it was the worst thing she's ever heard. Like she never had heard anything so horrific. And her neighbor went out to try and find the dog, and they were looking, but it was way too dark. They couldn't see anything. But then the next day when it was light, they went out and found it, and it was dead. But she said it was the most horrific thing, and people gotta, God, have some fucking humanity, man. I can't even tell you how many videos I've seen of people dumping animals. It's like, and having a relationship and seeing like they are, everything is a soul. Like, oh man, people just don't know so much stuff, man. But so she was, a video I saw her talking now is that they're taking all of these grizzly bears, so grizzly bears that they don't that have got problems like in other places that have attacked people or whatever, so they're relocating them. So they're going to relocate them out here to the Cascades, And so she was saying it's very concerning, you know, how in the comments, these people who sit there and say, you know, screw them, and well, rich people, and Washington stayed in the mountains and stuff like that. And, you know, because all these Microsoft people, but they're over there, like where I was talking about, where I said Issaquah, which that kid, you know, the one that was missing from Yakima, that I was worried about was the other kid, which I still don't know if it was. The one kid, I don't think it was, because the kid in Yakima, he was on the spectrum. I think he was nonverbal. I think that's where I was like, okay, that's not that kid then. But I think he was nonverbal. But anyways, they found him drowned in a thing. But, you know, I had just turned on that movie recently, is it called Devil's Knot? The Arkansas, where the 3 little boys were killed, and then they pinned it on those 3 teenagers, and they were thrown in the water, all tied up and stuff. I think, you know, sometimes when these people have their way with some of these kids, they just go and toss them in the water. So, you know, I don't think of it necessarily as being that kid got out of his house and went and walked somewhere and drowned, and then wasn't found for all this time, and then, you know, was finally found. To me, he probably was taken, and then he was used, and then when they were finished, it was just, you know, discard him so the family can find him and bury him. You know, not everybody has access to take down where they take the cattle and stuff, like the discarded stuff from that. So, but that Issaquah, Bellevue, and stuff like that, that's more around all of these lakes and stuff, like where Gates is and stuff, those Microsoft people. And in the mountain area, and she was saying this too, like around where I'm at and stuff, it's poor people. And that is what is so annoying, why they're coming in here and just, Whatcom County is fucking as corrupt as any of them. Like, to come in here and what they're doing and building on and stuff like this is, oh my God, it's so absurd. And so out in the mountain areas, there's a lot of people who are mountain people. Just like, you know, if you went to the Ozarks or, you know, any of this stuff, you have mountain people who have lived in generations, and they're poor, they're not rich at all. And so she is saying, like, this is very concerning that they're going to go and release all of these bears in these areas. And so she started talking about, I think, North Korea, where they did that with the tigers. They took away their guns, they did it with the tigers and released them. And then there was another thing too, I think, but she said that was all to control the people, because even if you tried to escape, you had to get through the tigers and stuff like that. And so I was thinking, oh my gosh. So they were putting all these grizzlies right there in the Cascades, because like I said, if when the water comes up, there will be no way out except for crossing the mountain or going up into Canada, which I've seen now, like Trudeau, oh my Lord, like when they said that thing about they won't be able to walk down the streets, like I'm seeing it, like in Trudeau, like he has like a parade of protesters following him. I mean, he's got groups of people showing up, like, yeah, I mean, people in Canada are, I mean, they're a lot more active than people in America. People in America are just so full of themselves and so full of arrogance. You can't imagine, you know, they think that they're so great. It's like, no, this girl I saw yesterday, she said, you want to know what woke me up? It was like 3.5 years ago. It was her grandpa or her great uncle, but one of them was sick, and so she was over there, and he was dying or whatever, and so she said that he told her that America is the bad guys. We've never been the good guys. And he said, because he was in Vietnam, he has issues from Agent Orange, which my uncle had issues from Agent Orange, but he killed himself like way long ago. So I don't even know about these people who still have the effects of Agent Orange, like, it's like a poison. They've been doing this shit in all these different countries. When you find out about like Gaddafi, like, man, that guy was a goddamn saint. And they made it, oh man, like Libya was the place to be. Like, even if you needed medical treatment and they couldn't provide it there, they would pay, the government would pay to fly you, pay all your medical expenses, pay everything for you to go get whatever treatment in whatever country that you needed, if it wasn't something that they could do. I mean, it was like how we should all be living. And that is what the DS does not want. They want us all controlled and hopeless and helpless. They don't want us thriving, being happy, being taken care of, being secure, having good relationships. They don't want that. So, anyways, that guy had said, we've always been the bad guys. We've gone into these countries. We've taken, we take what we want. We kill, I mean, and she was really surprised. And, she thought that America was out there helping. No, or we're out there destroying. We're out there taking, and then these people just sit back all arrogant about, America is the best and stuff like that. It's like, you're not even paying attention what's going on. Like, it is criminal. And how, I mean, these people are going, crimes, what is it? The two guys, the two gay guys that are busted. I think they're Chicago or something. The two who adopted those kids, and then, I mean, their stuff is so freaking blatant. I mean, there's all sorts of correspondence where, these guys are just like right out in the open. Yeah, we're going to go and, have sex with this little kid tonight, and we're going to show him. And selling them and all of that stuff. So they were doing all of, blatantly talking about what they were doing to these kids, and then also selling these kids and stuff. And they had these kids, I think they were brothers, like a year and a half apart or something. And then and they've had them for 4 years or something. And so they've got, I don't even know. It seemed like they said like 64 charges, but I'm off on numbers, but they have a lot of charges. And if they got all of this stuff, they would get 7 life sentences. But the thing is in the executive orders that are the ones that I pay attention to, it said, if you're involved with any crimes against children or any of this genocidal behavior, that's your ticket to Nowheresville. Like, you're out. There isn't going to be a prison that's going to hold you for 7 life sentences. They're just done with you. There's a ceremony of execution that will be happening for all of those people. So when I saw those guys, especially when they're talking about like 7 life sentences, like, no, that's exactly who he's talking about. Those people, all these people, and it can be just regular people who saw a loophole. Hey, I can get away with this. I can perv on them. I can do this. I can do that. Find my loopholes. That's your choices. That's your free will choices. You get the choice to see, who do you follow? Do you follow the dark or do you follow the light? And then how many people we have following the dark who think they're following the light in their own arrogance and ego, and, are ridiculing people. I can't even tell you how many videos, where people are constantly like, why are the Christians supposedly, they're supposed to be, the most loving, caring people on the planet, but they're the most judgmental, hateful people that you deal with. And it's like, yeah, I mean, but that's for them to see. They've got to see, like, and that's a big thing to see, like, you're following all of this negative, you're putting out all this hate, and, because you're not listening to yourself inside, you're listening to something outside of you that is directing you. It's, everything has to go to where you start listening to yourself inside, not this, and there's a whole thing about, because so many people listen to what's outside of them, because then it's like this give and take, like you, if I accept you, you accept me, and trying to be something, because then they feel like if this person likes me, then I'm okay. And that is the wrong way to go. You have to be, I love myself. And so if I love myself, then anybody who comes in contact with me who doesn't love me, then they don't have any place in my life. Not as, a struggle. What can I do to get you to like me? No. You don't need their stuff. But people get into this thing, like, even with a guy. I mean, so many women have done this, like, oh, I just love him, I just want to be with this one guy, I'll do whatever it takes, all of that whole thing, when that guy was going to always be toxic to them. It was always going to be a bad relationship, but they're willing to do whatever because they think it's going to give them value for this person to like them, when it was, it's not. The only thing you're going to get out of it is hurt and pain, because if the person liked you, then it would be, you don't do things to try and get someone to like you. You got to be yourself and put yourself out there, and then you will draw in people who are more like you. But you still have to be, have discernment over what you're going to accept people to treat you like. But you got to, people have got to get out of the habit of trying to trade off, like, I'll be what you want me to be if you will just like me or give me what I need or whatever. It's never a healthy relationship. It always becomes toxic because it's not an even trade. It's not a good way to go. Everything starts with loving yourself. And, but it's just that backward way that we've been taught. And so, it's a retraining ourselves to, put ourselves first, learn about ourselves, learn to love ourselves. And what was it too? It was something with relationships or something I was talking about yesterday with somebody. It's my one daughter, who's having so many problems with her, these big changes in hers. So she talks about that a lot. But the thing with the relationships is, we've built them on things that were not good for us. So we were trying to build, it's like trying to build a strong foundation on an unsteady ground. And so it's always going to be crumbling and going one direction or the other because it's not in balance. The only way I can see anything of being in balance is like going back to, how when humans were productive, and going back to the tribe mentality and stuff of becoming your best self. Then is when you go out and look for a partner. You don't go out and find a partner. It's like, that's kind of like you're trying to find somebody to be a crutch. And then you can only put so much weight on somebody else before they're going to give out. And so, you have to heal your stuff so that you're not a burden to your partner. Because even if, what if your story, your experience is to come in and, have this partner that was there, but for you to see how toxic you were and you were the destructive one in the relationship. That, was something that happens all the time for people. But, the best way is to be aware of all of these things. Be aware of, like, all of the problems that can go wrong if you're not in your best, most productive way. And so to always make that your goal is, to find your best self, to create your best self, to become your best self. And in that process is when, you will find your alignment, yeah, it's so crazy too. Sometimes when I'm talking about this stuff, even though they tell them, it's like, sometimes I feel like such a hypocrite. Because I've been doing this for years and years. And, I know that, there will be that alignment of, but anyways, don't be thinking that it's going to be like happen overnight. Like it's not something that happens overnight. It's, it hadn't been for me. I've been working on myself for a long time, and, and not, people ask me and stuff like that. I was like, it's not what my thing is about. I know that, I know my thing is about coming into alignment with, I don't know what you call it, your partner, you're somebody who's in alignment with you, you're just in alignment with, I don't know. To me, things are destiny. Things are destined, and things are, going to happen the way they're going to happen. And, it's just the way it is. But, for me to talk about some of the stuff when it's, even when I had said some stuff to my kids before, then they would be like, yeah, but you don't have, it hasn't worked for you yet. So what are you doing talking about something when it's not even your reality? Like, I don't know. It's just what they tell me. It's just what they tell me. It's just, I don't know. Is it their thing that they keep me motivated with? Like, I don't know. I think that when things start changing and going the other direction, that a lot of things are going to start falling into place. So, I don't know. I'm just going to keep watching how things play out and, stay safe. But I for sure think, I wish they would announce fucking, that they're going to nuke us today. Like, hurry up. Fucking just hurry up and do it then. Because, we got to start moving forward. Can't just sit here in this record skip doing the same thing day after day after day after day after day after day after day. It's like, we got to move forward. And they want to just keep us in this stagnant state because it's the only place that they stay alive. So, I don't know. Something's got to break loose. So, hopefully, today's the day. We'll see. And, I'm going to stay positive, even though I don't see these big changes in mine. But I know that they're coming. So we'll just see. We'll just see how things keep going. So just keep staying safe and, I stay out of certain places. Like, there's going to continue these shootings. They brought in these instigators. People are waiting for these people to, this is what they were doing. They're coming in to create chaos, to create violence, take people against their will, do all of that stuff to keep everything destabilized. And then they hit us with weather, and they hit us with all these things. It's to keep us unstable because they know how easy it is. They've got, 75% of the population on anxiety medicine. They've got everybody just like, on their wits' end all the fucking time. And they got motherfucking children on anxiety medicine. It's like, they're fucking with people, or fucking with their minds and everything else. So anyways, I'm just gonna keep on hoping that we're close to the end. Like, I don't know how this is all gonna go down. Maybe the fucking coral starts spinning, the water will start filling, and things will start changing. I don't know, but I just want things, fuck, I swear to God, I've been saying this for over a year. I just want things to hurry up. Obviously, it's not because I want it to be, because it's not going any faster, because I want it faster. So, anyways, stay strong, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.